There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on. Hello and welcome to Cancelled, the podcast that looks at silly, celebrity or movie crimes and assigns charges and sentences to them so we can all move on with our lives. I'm Claire Stevens and I'm joined by
Jessie Stevens.
And do you have a lazy girl story for us today?
I do. And I love lazy girl stories that directly are things that you and I do also. I don't know if you do this. We've never talked about it, but I assume you do. This one is from Jen and she says, lazy girl story for you. I am part of a few mums Facebook groups, and every time I see a post that I think, oh, I could give advice about this, I just went through it. I get halfway through typing my reply and just think, I just really can't be bothered. And then I proceed to delete and move on with my life. Hopefully someone else who is not such a lazy girl can give them the advice they are looking for.
Lazy girl.
She's a lazy girl.
That's actually
One of the truest things I've ever read in my life.
I reckon I could count on one hand the amount of times I've contributed to a Facebook group.
Yeah.
And yet the hours I spend in them reading other people's generous advice.
I can't remember if I've mentioned on this podcast, but I was doing a few things around the house and I was renovating mums. They just had good advice. Mums know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Bunnings mums, all this sorts of
Kmart
stuff.
mums, great group.
Kmart mums. And I would put in, I've got this mark on my bench. How do I get rid of it? And I expect 12 answers.
Yeah.
Have I ever given an answer or contributed in any meaningful way?
No.
I see things all the time and I think, I've got an answer for that. Yeah, I had that exact issue.
I've
last week.
literally done it so many times where I'm halfway through typing and go, fuck it. I'm not being paid to do this. This is out of goodwill.
Exactly. And I've got distracted.
And I'm bored
My dog's
now.
coughed.
Yeah.
And now I'm distracted and I've lost my window.
Exactly. Jessie, today we're talking about The Notebook.
It was a magical summer. Noah was a country boy. Allie was from the city. They met the night of the carnival. They had nothing in common, but after seeing Allie that night, something inside Noah snapped.
Now, our producer suggested that this was uncancellable.
Oh,
And we
honey.
said, no.
Was that
no.
Talissa,
Yeah,
honey?
and
Nora,
Tia.
you haven't seen it recently, have you?
They said, you should do something just totally uncancelable, pause, like The Notebook. And I
Oh.
went, ooh, honey.
Oh, no.
This-
Feminists have been on that for 10 years.
Yeah, I said, you just wait. We will do that. So, Jessie, do you remember watching The Notebook for the first time?
Yeah, I think I do. I
And-
just a sob.
Yeah, okay, but where were we? What was the vibe?
Oh, I don't remember. Where were we?
Okay, we were about 14.
Yeah.
It was me, you, and our friend Danny,
Oh, of course it was
who's
Danny.
very
Yeah.
sentimental and
She would have got really upset.
feels all the feelings.
Feelings quite deeply.
Now, it's interesting that you said that you sobbed because you didn't.
Didn't I?
No.
Well, that's because I was probably just putting my arm around Danny. She was probably inconsolable.
Well, we were upstairs
Yeah.
and we were in our brother's room
Yep.
because that was the only place in the house that had a
A
DVD,
DVD
player.
player.
Yeah. And we watched The Notebook.
And it wasn't a DVD player, it was a PlayStation. But
Yes.
yes.
And I mocked it the whole time. I went, this is lame. Haha, ew, they're kissing. It really showed my maturity
Yeah,
level as a
yeah.
14-year-old girl.
You weren't ready.
And Danny was crying from the opening music and she was gone. And I'm pretty sure you were along with me, just like, meh. Because we didn't have any feelings, Jessie.
No, but often what I'll do is I'll watch something like that, I'll mock it, and then I'll go into the bathroom and cry.
Okay.
Or just into my bedroom and I'll sit on my bed and cry. Like I did when Anthony Kalia lost Australian Idol. Like I'd just then go and sit alone. And in the first movie I ever cried in, can you remember what it was?
Was it Lion King?
No, it was
No.
Air Bud.
Hey, boy. You like basketball?
Oh, yeah.
When the dog gets sent away. And I watched it with my family and I was like, this is so stupid, a dog that plays basketball. And then I went to my room and I sobbed.
Actually, I've done that before. I've gone like, lame. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed. Cried and cried. So we did make fun of our friend who sobbed. And in hindsight, her
was
emotional reaction was entirely appropriate.
And more mature.
Jessie, The Notebook is a 2004 romantic drama based on the novel of the same name by Nicholas Sparks. Nicholas Sparks also wrote The Last Song, which got turned into a fabulous movie with Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth.
It is where they met.
It is where they met. It's a fantastic film.
Well, the word is you're from New York. So what are you doing down here?
My mom shipped me and my brother to my dad's for the summer.
He also wrote A Walk to Remember and Dear John.
That made me cry.
Oh, and this man has nailed the formula of making women feel things deep in their vagina.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yes.
Honestly, it's a skill and it should not be underplayed. The movie The Notebook received mixed reviews, which surprises me.
Did you see, I was doing a bit of research before this, 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is not critically acclaimed.
It is not, but it did very well at the box office,
I bet.
with all the ladies orgasming.
Yeah.
Jesse, the director wanted someone unknown and not handsome to play Noah, so he cast Ryan Gosling, and that's a sentence that doesn't make sense.
He fucked it.
He went, no, we'll get to some average-looking guy, and then he put Ryan Gosling in front of
Was
the camera.
this Ryan Gosling's real breakout role?
Yes.
All right. So this is Leo in the Titanic
Correct.
type breakout.
But remember, Ryan Gosling was like child.
Oh,
remember
yes,
he was on
yes.
all the shit. He could dance and sing and everything. But this was him breaking out
Acting.
in Hollywood as an actor. And I can kind of see how maybe they thought he wasn't as hot as he is, but it's his physicality.
Yeah, he's pretty hot.
He's so sexy. Jesse, a nationwide search was conducted to find the right actress to play Ali. Actresses who auditioned for the role included Jessica Biel, Britney Spears,
Oh, no.
Ashley Judd, and Reese Witherspoon. And Rachel McAdams was ultimately cast.
Well cast.
Well cast. It also stars James Marsden as Lon, Ali's fiancé. And I had forgotten this until he said it in Jury Duty. And
He's
I
in
went,
that Netflix show at the moment.
Yes. And he said, I'm in the Notebook. And I went, no, what? And then I went, he is.
Yeah.
He actually is.
You know who else is in the Notebook?
Yeah.
Is the guy from Entourage.
Yeah, Kevin Connolly.
Yeah.
He plays Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah. Okay. Spoiler.
There will be spoilers.
There will be spoilers. He plays Noah's best friend, Finn. One of the reviews at the time praised McAdams, but said Gosling just doesn't have the kind of star power or chemistry with McAdams to anchor this kind of minor league Gone with the Wind. He said the film doesn't completely work on its own terms, mainly because its romantic casting just doesn't spark. It doesn't make us fall in love with its lovers. And sir, just ask any teenage girl because you were so
You
wrong.
are so wrong. You can't just make pronouncements like that without interviewing 3 14-year-old girls who say yes.
Who will say, are you kidding?
There was great chemistry.
Gosling has so much star power.
Yeah.
And teenage girls, I've said it once, I'll say it again, always right. They are
Yeah.
the taste makers.
Yeah.
Were they not the ones who said One Direction vibe? Look at Harry Styles now. Ed Sheeran,
They
talented.
create culture.
Yeah.
They create the biggest cultural moments of our time and no one gives them enough credit.
No. Jesse, my structure for today is as follows. Firstly, a recap of the movie through a feminist lens.
Wait, like from beginning to end?
Yes.
Okay.
Secondly, did Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling hate each other? IRL, an investigation. That's it.
Okay.
That's my structure.
Love it.
Jesse, there are 2 parallel stories in the Notebook. And I
Do
always
you
forget.
recognise the old alley from any films?
Great question. I do, but I can't remember what.
Skeleton Key.
Yes. She's the woman.
Yes, when we were traveling, you and I went to New Orleans and we were like, we're in New Orleans. We have to watch Skeleton Key. And it's her. And at the end, she takes over Kate Hudson's body. It's really, a spoiler, brilliant film. But that's where I know her from.
She does seem haunted in
Yes,
this, and I didn't
yes.
know why. Okay, yes, that's who it is. So in one of these storylines, an old man is at an aged care facility with an old woman with dementia, and he's reading to her from a book.
Where did we leave off? Oh, yeah. It was the night of the carnival. Noah was there with his friends Finn and Sarah.
Noah?
That's where they met. June 6th, 1940. Ali was 17 years old.
Then in the other, we're seeing that story play out. Let's start with the story. We're at a carnival. It's summer. Somewhere in the south. I could find out, but it doesn't matter. Noah, played by Ryan Gosling, spots a thing he likes.
Sparkly.
Its name is Ali.
Yeah.
She's on the bumper cars smiling, and he likes its face
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
It has perfect skin and teeth and hair, and it looks happy and carefree. When she gets off the bumper cars, he's lurking and he asks her to dance.
You want to dance with me?
No,
Why not?
because I don't want to.
And it's like, what? We're in the middle of a carnival.
Okay, there's no music. There's no dance floor. How dare he?
Movies,
Dance to what, where, and how?
movies have manufactured this idea that people want
Wanna
to dance
dance.
spontaneously.
Or ever.
And I just know that there are men out there who have tried to woo girls and said, shall we dance? And the woman's gone, ew, what?
We're in a kitchen.
We're in the kitchen. We're on the street.
It's
No.
2 p.m. No one wants to dance.
No,
I don't
there's
know how
nowhere to
You
dance.
certainly don't know how to dance.
So she says, no.
There's no music. Yeah, I'm at a carnival.
At this point, it's like, sir, why are you so obsessed with this woman? You've never spoken to her. You've just seen her from afar on a
And
ride.
he likes it.
She then gets on the Ferris wheel with another guy, and Noah starts yelling at her from the ground.
Harassment.
He then launches...
It's not street harassment because they're at a festival, so it's festival harassment.
He then launches himself onto the seat she is sharing with this other guy.
Physical harassment.
Yep. And then begs her to go on a date with him. She says no repeatedly. Everyone is yelling for this strange man to please get off the Ferris wheel because they've all paid for their ticket.
Also, hazard. Hazard. And people go on Ferris wheels because they feel like it's the safest option.
Mm.
I'm seeing a man who's compromising the safety of everyone on the ride. And all you need to do is pull something down. Suddenly we've got people falling from the top. And that's just a child who wanted to go see the big carnival.
Exactly. I'm not here for it. So,
I'm not for anyone who makes a ride dangerous for everyone.
no. And he's being annoying.
Yeah.
Actually.
He's being a public nuisance.
Yeah.
Get down, no, you're gonna kill yourself!
No, cut it out.
Well, you go out with me?
What? No!
No.
No!
No.
Hey, Pat, she just told you.
Why not?
I don't know, because I don't want to. Ella!
All right, well, you leave me no other choice then. Will you? Or will you not go out with me? Goddamn, my hand slipper.
You grabbed the bar, you idiot!
Not until she agrees.
Go out with him, honey.
Okay, fine. I'll go out with you.
Well, don't do me any favors.
No, I want to.
You want it.
Yes!
You want it.
Say it.
I want to go out with you.
Say it again.
I want to go out with you.
All right, we'll go out.
Okay. So that's coercion.
He should be arrested.
Yeah. He's then hanging onto the Ferris wheel with one hand and threatening to fall to his death.
Okay. So he's threatening to end his own life if she does not agree to a date.
Yeah.
That's hot.
She says no, but then she agrees.
Because otherwise he'll die.
Because she doesn't want to be responsible for killing some
for
guy she barely
splat.
knows.
The
For the
splat.
splat.
In front of
Honestly.
everyone. There's probably a child with fairy floss at the top.
He's going to crush someone on his
He's going to crush someone and she just wants him to stop.
It's all really inappropriate. We flash straight to the next scene, so we never learn how he actually got down.
I was thinking this.
Yeah.
Because when you're hanging one hand, yes. When you're hanging one hand from a Ferris wheel, it would take a lot to get the second one up.
Correct.
But you forgot a detail, which is that she dacks him.
Yeah,
She pulls his pants down.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of a friend of ours who used to do that to people on escalators. And they would take his pants down and often do a belt up around the ankles. And once they get to the top, just like a fish, a little mermaid or something, they just start to and all the coins would fall out of their pocket. So what we've got is a Ryan Gosling who now only has arms
Yeah.
at the top of a Ferris wheel. He has no use of his feet.
Actually, great point. There's
No. There's actually no way for him to get down unless they move the Ferris wheel. Like they would have to turn the Ferris wheel back on
Yeah.
for
and
him to just
rotate
get to the
it
bottom
and fall off.
and then for him to just kind of fall near the bottom and just do his pants back up.
Because in my mind, what happened was that he had to sit back down in the seat between
And
Ali
wait.
and the guy she's with and have an awkward couple of minutes of small talk before he was deposited
Yes.
back to the ground and then asked, please pay.
please pay retroactively. Yes.
Now, in recent years, the Ferris wheel scene has been analysed through a very different lens. A lot of teenage girls in the early 2000s were like, so romantic. I wish I was out in public and a guy just knew he loved me and couldn't leave me alone.
Yeah.
But that's actually quite toxic. And the question is, if he didn't look like Ryan Gosling,
Is it a crime?
Is it a crime?
Yes. And he said, when I see something I like, I go crazy for it. That's his line.
And
it's like,
imagine
no,
if
this is abusive red flag stuff,
This
Ryan.
ain't it. And Ali isn't romantically interested in him at the beginning. So it is somebody pursuing her.
Yeah.
And climbing onto her ride.
Which was a private experience. All she's done so far is dack him.
Yeah.
And his like for her has increased.
Yeah. Noah then sees Ali walking down the street, which doesn't feel like a coincidence. I feel like he knew where she
Tracking her
was.
phone.
And he's like, how about that date? And she's like, sir, I only agreed to go out with you because you threatened me.
Look, I know you get some dirty guy coming up to you on the street. You don't know him. You don't know me, but I know me. And when I see something that I like, I got it. I love it. I go crazy for it.
What are you talking about?
You don't know me, but I know me. And I trust me.
I trust me, so don't worry.
Okay. Sounds like something an abusive kind of man would say.
Jesse, at this point, it's like, you don't know her. You only know that she likes Ferris wheels.
And ducking.
That's the...
She's a terrible driver.
How does he know about the driving?
Because wasn't she in a bumper car?
Oh, yeah. No, that's all he knows. He's just made all these assumptions. And her face, sorry. That's important. But actually, not her personality.
No.
Eventually, he tricks her into a double date to see a movie, so she is trapped in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because coercion, bullying, and harassment are romantic ways to start a relationship. Throughout the movie, he stares at her while she eats popcorn.
I would too. She's got a great face.
She's got a beautiful face, but it's not a pleasant viewing experience.
No.
Then they decide to walk home together. After a 2-minute conversation with Ali, where she talks about how she does tutoring and music lessons, Noah's like, well, that doesn't sound very free.
Well, he says, what do you do for fun?
Yeah.
He asks her. And in her defense, she goes to a fair and a carnival for fun, but you ruined it. That was her fun.
Yeah.
She was having fun on a Ferris wheel. And when she has fun throughout this film, she screams.
Yes.
She goes, ah, like a lot.
She squeals.
She squeals like a little girl. And she was squealing at that fair until a man threatened to end his own life in front of her. And then her fun at the festival was ruined.
Yes. And he's like, what do you do for fun? She's like, I actually have quite a serious life.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I thought you were carefree. You don't sound carefree. And it's like, you only thought she was carefree because you don't know anything about her and you saw her on Dodgem cars.
Yeah. Yeah, and she looked that way for a minute. But what he's doing is he's negging her.
Yeah.
He's going, I know what your problem is. You know what her problem is. Oh, mate, you have been really weird in terms of your personality and approach.
Noah decides she doesn't do anything she actually wants to do and everything is obligation. And it's like,
the irony is this date is obligation.
Yes. It's like, no, why don't you make your own choices? Anyway, I'm going to force you to go on a date with me.
Yeah, why don't you make your own choices? She said no 58 times to a date and you forced her. And then he's like, look at you doing what everyone wants. You've trapped her, sir.
So he makes her lie in the middle of the road.
Yeah, second time he's tried to end his own life.
And it's like, she's expressed no interest in that hobby. That sounds like something you want to do.
Yeah, and he's like, why don't you do what you want to do, lay down in the middle of the road and
she's
nearly
like,
get hit by one.
I don't really want to
nearly get hit by a car.
do that. So while lying in the middle of the road, she tells him she likes to paint. Because I don't know if you know this, but girls are allowed one-time hobby in movies, and it's usually painting because that is non-threatening.
Yeah, it's never like
it couldn't be reading.
I like kickboxing.
And it couldn't be reading because then she might read some feminist theory and that would be hard for him.
Could be like piano is sort of her other one or like dancing or something. But
she has like quite a lot of, like she's fine.
Yeah. It's not like I like tractors.
A car, because that would not be hot. A car comes and they almost die, which she finds hysterical.
Yeah, again, the squealing.
Then Noah asks her to dance and they dance in the street, which is my personal worst nightmare for 2 reasons. 1, there is no music. And 2, what if someone saw you? Can you imagine? Finn drives past and goes, what the hell?
Yeah, mortifying.
So embarrassing.
Oh, and he makes up music. Oh, I hated that.
It ain't it. Now, obviously, Noah and Ali are in love automatically.
And I'm worried about her college. application.
Yeah.
And her distraction.
Yeah.
Because she has a whole life ahead of her.
She does. What's important to know at this point is that she is rich from the city with the world at her feet. And he ain't got no money because he works at the lumber yard.
Yes, I understand.
As is the case in all scenarios, the rich people, her family and their friends are mean. And the poor people, Noah's dad, his best friend, are kind.
Yeah.
That is always as simple as that.
Yeah.
Rich people evil, poor people good.
Yeah.
The problem is that Noah and Ali
Don't like each other.
fight
Yes.
constantly.
Yes.
They don't agree on anything.
No, they say that.
And they challenged each other every day. But despite their differences, they had one important thing in common. They were crazy about each other.
And they openly argue in front of other people, which is our pet hate when other couples argue in front of you.
It's like, what am I meant to do with my face?
And it's like, I don't find this
fun or sexy because I'm
Or
not
romantic.
having the sex later.
No.
I'm just here for the fighting.
They get into literal physical fights on the street.
Yeah.
Ali pushes and slaps and hits Noah, which
is a crime.
illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, cancel
Which,
courtroom.
yeah, but again, that's not for us.
No, but just we
But-
did look it up in the law book.
Yeah. If a policeman
Illegal.
went down the street, there's a few crimes that have already been committed.
Yeah, yeah.
Ride trespassing, potentially getting hit by a car and
Yeah.
scaring. Honestly, if I'm in my car driving late at night and I hit someone laying in the middle of the road
For
with a
fun.
partner for fun,
Yeah.
that is, you heard it here first, on you.
On you.
That is
Jesse,
on you.
I'd like to charge Ryan Gosling in this movie with one actual crime, and that is being a public nuisance.
He's actually such a public nuisance. Good point.
Being a public nuisance is a great charge, and I think we've said it once before. We have one friend who's been charged with being a public nuisance.
Sums him up.
And it was so, when he got that, I went, that's really accurate.
Yeah, I'm so glad they could find evidence.
Yeah. But all the fights have romantic music in the background. And then moments after the fight, they're passionately kissing. So it's like, this is what love looks like. High conflict, high intensity,
Kissing.
They go to the beach and Ali wears that iconic cozy
Mm.
that's like red and white and demands Noah calls her a bird, which feels bizarre.
Say I'm a bird.
Stop it. Stop it now.
Say it.
You're a bird. If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
That's role play.
She also calls her dad Daddy,
Yes.
which I never like in
It's
films.
a bit sexual. Yeah.
Daddy. Ugh, I don't like it.
Stop it.
Ali's parents are worried because Noah is poor. They watch Ali and Noah make out on a rowboat, and it's like, I don't know, give them some privacy. That
Yeah.
feels weird. One night, Noah takes Ali to this abandoned house.
No, it's not a house.
What?
It's a plantation.
Oh my god!
And we need to discuss that more because a
Yes.
plantation is highly problematic.
It
Celebrities
is.
keep getting in trouble for getting married in them.
Yeah.
Plantations are slave homes.
Mm-hmm.
And he has found a former slave home that's abandoned. And he's like, come into this plantation. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so aroused.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a problem. This site has a problematic history. And you're not being respectful of it.
That's actually a great point. They don't say it's a plantation until later in the film, and I was like, oh, that's easily missed, isn't it? Isn't that easily
Yeah, and then he's
missed?
like, I'll have a barn out there to do my things. Well, that was probably the slave quarters.
Yeah. Actually, great point.
Yeah.
Really problematic house. So he wants to renovate it one day. She says she wants it to be white with blue shutters. They say, I love you. They're about to have sex. And then Finn runs in and he's like, Ali's parents have been looking for her because it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
and you have kidnapped her and taken her to this haunted house.
Yeah.
No. What? Finn, get out of here.
Look, I'm sorry, but Allie's parents are going crazy. They got every cop in town out looking for her.
When they get back to Ali's house, her parents are like,
Now that is enough. You are not to see him anymore, and that's final.
No, it's
Now he is a nice boy. He's a nice boy, but
He's what?
he is
what?
trash,
Tell me.
trash, not for you.
so Noah's a little bit like, you are going to New York for college. Maybe we just break up.
Mm.
And Ali
Hits him
physically.
Yep.
Physically assaults him. And
That's how they've resolved all their fights. So
yes, and I actually feel a little bit sorry for Noah at this point. Even though he is a public nuisance,
far. Yeah.
he doesn't deserve to get hit.
Yes.
The next day, Ali's parents have decided that they're leaving. They're going home to the city. Noah drives to her house, but they're already gone. For the next year, 365
He writes
days.
her every day for a year.
He wrote to Allie that he was sorry and stupid for breaking up with her. He wrote to tell her that he still loved her and he wanted to see her, and that if she would write back, he would come to wherever she was. He wrote 1 letter a day for a year, 365 letters, but they all went unanswered.
Now, it would not be romantic for someone to write to you every day for a year if you had just broken up and the relationship was over and he doesn't know that she hasn't moved
received
on.
them. That's actually a really good point.
And it's like,
so if my ex-boyfriend texted me
Yeah.
every day for a year, by day 3,
yeah, you'd hope.
by day 3, are we reporting to the police? I mean, we're considering it.
Yeah.
Well, we're at least blocking a number.
By day 200, did he not think,
This is a waste of my time.
yeah, actually waste of my time, waste of postage? I'm not a rich man.
No.
I'm paying for stamps.
She's not reading them.
And I am harassing a woman who, if I assess the situation, she ain't replying, mate.
No.
She's not.
Why would she all of a sudden reply at
Soz
letter
for the,
285?
Soz for the late
Soz for the late reply.
Got busy.
Missed this.
Noah stops writing eventually on day 365 and he signs up to join the army. There is one less than a minute scene of him at war and his best friend Finn dies and pause. No one gives this nearly enough attention. No one cares that Finn dies.
It never comes back. And is mentioned again. And Allie never asks after Finn. Hey, what happened to your best friend? Oh, he died on the battlefield.
I watched him die.
Well, they don't have time to talk.
No.
They're too busy having sex or fighting.
And Noah doesn't tell his dad.
No.
Noah doesn't tell anyone.
No.
And never seems to think about Finn again. Doesn't have a memorial.
No.
Doesn't dedicate anything to
Finn
him.
disappears into thin air.
Finn's story is the real tragedy.
Yeah. And when Finn died, I went, well, he wasn't a lovely man. And then I went, no, you're getting confused with Entourage.
Yeah.
Because he's a bit annoying in Entourage.
Yeah. No, in this film, he's absolutely fine. At the same time, Allie becomes a war nurse and she meets a man named Lon who is covered in plaster.
He has broken every bone in his body.
Including his face.
I have never seen such a thing. I don't know if such a thing exists. But from the placement of the cast, I'm going to assume we've got 2 broken legs, 2 broken arms, a broken back,
broken ribs,
pelvis,
broken face.
Yes, definitely broken neck.
Yeah.
And then our face is somewhat broken and bruised.
And he sees Allie. She is just his nurse. She's just going along doing her job. And he's like, I want to ask you on a date.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about her.
And sir, you can't even sit up at this stage.
I don't think you can see.
I don't
You're
think
not doing
you know
so
where you
well.
are. You need to heal. You need to heal.
And clearly in her head, she's like, yeah, we'll get to that date. You ain't going well, mate, in that cast. Because it is the 1940s and medical care is not excellent.
And I'm your nurse and I have no qualifications.
Jessie, she falls in love with him because he turns up at the college. Turns out he's James Marsden, which she didn't know when he was in the
No,
cast.
because his face was all broken.
No.
Which brings me to, how did he recover, Claire? Everything was broken. Everything was broken.
Not a scar.
Not a scar. Not a limp.
No.
I broke 1 bone a year ago and I limp.
Yeah.
That man broke 400 bones and a month later turned up.
And he seems to have
fully
no
fit.
trauma.
No.
He's fine.
He's glowing.
And it's like, you
have a broken back currently.
you
How do you solve a broken back in the
exploded.
40s or whenever this was?
Yeah. So he turns up and
That's
she's
the real question,
Yeah.
is James Marsden's miraculous recovery.
That was a miracle. It's quite inspiring.
He's not at all traumatized, quite a happy chap.
Well adjusted.
Well adjusted.
Yeah.
Really? Because you broke everything and now you're so much better.
But she sees him and he is kind and unproblematic. Apart from the fact he asked her out when he didn't know anything about
That
her.
was fine.
Actually.
Compared to her
Noah,
first love.
Yeah, absolutely fine. He proposes, she says yes, but we learn from the narration that it was Noah's face that came into her mind.
Yeah.
She agreed with all her heart, but couldn't understand why at the very moment she said yes, Noah's face came to her mind.
Now, Noah's back from the war, and his dad has sold his house and bought Noah the house he wanted to renovate. Again, house? No, plantation. So they start fixing it together. One day, Noah goes into the town and sees Ali very happy with her fiancé.
Yes.
Which makes it, for a normal person, you might think,
full stop on that one.
She seems happy, why don't I move on? No. He goes, I better build the house exactly how she wanted it.
Yeah.
And when I've got the house, she'll come back.
Unrealistic male behaviour.
Which, no.
And around this time, his father dies. And again, he never talks about it.
No.
Never tells Ali.
Doesn't seem to fully mourn.
No.
He just goes further into the house.
Yeah.
Like throws himself into this house. He says he's going to sell it when he finishes it. And then he rejects every offer. And even when it's people who have asked over the asking price. And this is the problem with real estate. You've got people like Noah.
Yeah.
Who are like, you offer me too much? That's ridiculous. I shan't be selling. Or it's like, mate, why is it on the market?
You don't want to sell.
You don't want to sell.
You don't want to sell and you're wasting everyone's time. They're going to an open house on a Saturday.
Yeah.
We've got a bloody housing crisis.
It's, yeah, I think
to have one man living in a house like that.
During her wedding dress fitting, Ali sees a photo of Noah in the paper in front of the house and she faints. She tells Lon that she has to sort some business before their wedding and he is a normal, trusting human and he says, absolutely.
Go and
Go do that. During that chat, she randomly out of nowhere says,
I don't paint anymore. I used to paint all the time and I really loved it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So paint.
And Lon is like, you can paint. You can paint. You can absolutely paint. You should paint.
Can you imagine if you said to your partner, like, I don't write poetry anymore? Because you used to write poetry when you were 7.
Yeah.
He'd be like, okay, weird. You're an adult. Sorry. If you want to write poetry, you absolutely can. But also that's on you. Like, do you want me to tap you on the shoulder at 7 o'clock every day and say, write your poetry? Like,
it's not your partner's job to make you paint.
He's never known how to paint.
And if you want to paint, you can paint. And maybe, actually, this is the central tension of this story. I don't think Ali likes painting that much.
Me neither.
I think she said it in passing.
As a thing because she needed a hobby. And we've all done that.
And Noah's like, here's an easel and I'll get you to paint and all of this.
She didn't paint when she was with Noah the first time, Claire.
No.
They were too busy humping.
Yeah. But the fact that she blames Lon.
Yeah.
For
who
her
is
not
a
painting.
lovely man.
Yeah.
This man has gone through enormous trauma. He went to war and broke 500 bones.
And she's like, well, I don't
get to
paint anymore.
Well, fuck, there was a war, mate. Buy yourself some paint.
When Ali arrives at Noah's house, she runs over his fence. Firstly, how rude. And secondly, must women always be such terrible drivers?
It's so disrespectful to, I mean, I was going to say to the house and then I thought the plantation and the history of the plantation.
Yeah.
But he's built this house in her honour.
With his bare hands.
With his bare hands. And she's like, oh,
oops.
Whoops. I broke your fence. Well, the dog's going to get out. Sorry, I don't think there is a dog. But fences generally do serve a purpose.
Yes. They hang out and then Ali comes back the next day. And I don't know if you picked up on this. I think it's only when you've grown up and you've studied too much English. She's wearing a baby blue outfit with a scarf around her head.
She looks like the Virgin Mary?
Yes, Virgin Mary. And she is a Virgin Mary.
She is a Virgin Mary, but not for long.
No.
She loses her veil.
She does lose her veil. Noah takes her on his little rowboat and they're surrounded by swans because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a bird metaphor.
Yeah, freedom birds. Lots of birds.
I think it's about flying back to where you belong, but also being able to fly away if you want to be free.
Yeah, it's about freedom.
Yeah.
In a coercive relationship. Yeah. Yes.
It starts raining and it's so romantic. And Ali's like, why didn't you write me?
And what happens when it rains? What does she do? She squeals. And she squeals like a woman in pain. And I have a problem with women who squeal like they're in pain.
Because when it happens in public,
there is a crisis, everyone goes, silly person squealing.
Yeah.
Well, no, that woman has tripped and hurt herself and she needs assistance.
Great point. Sometimes I'm out in public and I hear a squeal and I look at someone and they're just laughing and I'm like, live life less. Like, live
Be
life
less,
more
turn
at like
it down.
60%.
Yeah, don't like it.
She's a squealer. So she's like,
I waited for you for 7 years. Now it's too late.
I wrote you 365 letters. I wrote you every day for a year.
You wrote me?
Yes. It wasn't over. It still isn't over.
and it's like, you did, mate. You did. You really did. And he's like, it wasn't over. It still isn't over. And then they start passionately kissing and then they have sexy sex.
Over and over again, and she gets UTI.
They're constantly having sex.
It stings.
She clearly doesn't understand like how the
I'm
willy
worried
works.
about contraception.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I'm also worried about his willy because they've just finished having sex, and she's like again and again. And he's like, "Can you let my willy refill?"
Refuel. I need to refuel. But I worry about contraception because I don't think Noah's got anything on him. She's certainly not on the pill. And I'm like, this is dangerous. Like, I'm happy for you to have children and fall pregnant, but it's like you're engaged. Ugh.
Yeah,
to someone else. To someone else. Yeah.
Yeah. So he sets up an easel for Ali because she can only paint when someone gives her an easel.
The audacity of sitting on Noah's porch, topless, painting, while her fiance, who is lovely, has allowed her to go there, and everyone knows she's there.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to come and she's going to be like, Mom, no, put your clothes on and stop painting at your boyfriend's house.
Because
you're getting married.
You're getting married like next week.
Yeah.
So there's a knock on the door. It's Ali's mum. And she's like, I have something to show you. She takes Ali to the lumberyard. She points out a man she loved when she was young. And she's like, I too once loved a poor person. But I did not end up with him.
Doesn't look like it now, but 25 years ago. Oh my goodness, he was really something. We were out of our minds in love, let me tell you.
And he looks perfectly happy. And he's also like, why is that random woman and her daughter staring at me at work?
I've moved on. And as we know, poor people are happy.
Yeah.
So he's married someone. He has a lovely family.
She's the one crying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the moral is, but I think it's don't end up with lumberyard man because he works in a lumberyard. I think
and he's dirty, and I think he brings dirt home.
Yeah.
You know what you skipped over, I think, is the meeting of Martha.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Martha's a war widow who just looks exactly like Ali.
But with smaller lips.
With smaller lips.
Yes. I just have a note that says poor fucking Martha because...
Well, she's sleeping with Noah, but he has no interest in her.
Yes.
And sorry, when you did say the thing about the no contraception, I thought of STIs. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to put that on Martha.
But then after meeting Rachel McAdams, Ali, she's like, for the first time since I lost Richard, I feel like I have something to look forward to. Imagine watching someone who doesn't love you love someone else and finding that inspiring.
I know.
It's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
And she's clearly seen Ali's face and gone, I get it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've been
Sorry.
there. Yeah.
Her skin, her eyes, her hair, her teeth, her lips.
I fully get it.
You know what?
Bowing out.
Don't worry about it.
I'm out.
Turns out Lon is in town because he's worried about his fiancée who's gone rogue. So Ali is like, no, I have to leave. I have a fiancé.
What about the past couple of days? They happened, you know?
I know that they happened and they were wonderful, but they were also very irresponsible.
I have a fiance waiting for me at a hotel who's going to be crushed when he finds out
So you make
what I
love
did.
to me, and then you go back to your husband?
And Noah's like, what do you want? And it's like she just stated she had to go see her fiancé. He promises it will be hard and says,
Would you just stay with me?
Stay with you. What for? Look at us. We're already fighting.
Well, that's what we do. You tell me when I'm being an arrogant son of a bitch, and I tell you when you're being a pain in the ass. Which you are, 99% of the time. I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings. They have like a 2-second rebound rate, and you're back doing the next pain in the ass thing.
So what?
So it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be really hard. And we're gonna have to work at this every day, but I want to do that because I want you.
Again, you don't like each other.
And he's like, but I want to be with you forever.
Why?
I have to say, okay, so this is meant to be problematic, and a lot of people say, you know, it's romanticizing high conflict relationships. I do like when he says, stop thinking about what your family wants or what I want. What do you want?
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
And she's clearly like, I want that dick.
I want that dick.
I want
I
that
want to paint my
dick.
shitty paintings. Actually.
In this house you built for me.
Actually. But yeah, I mean, says a man who coerced her into and threatened to end his own life if he didn't go on a date with her. Like, does he really care? You know?
Yeah.
I saw this feminist analysis that was like, if they just communicated more. And I was like, all right, unpopular opinion, wouldn't watch that film.
No. Let's watch some healthy communication.
Yeah, let's watch them sit down and nut it out. Like, no.
Anyway, she goes to Lon, who doesn't raise his voice after learning about
He is
Ali's
the
infidelity.
kindest, best person in this entire film.
And he's like, in spite of everything, I love you.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't want to convince my fiancé that she should be with me.
I love you, Allie. But I want you for myself. I don't want to have to convince my fiancée that she should be with me.
So who would you pick, Jesse? You've got verbal abuse, physical abuse, a lot of yelling, guy who thinks you're a pain in the butt 99% of the time.
And you've got a man who worships you, who is incredibly resilient
And safe.
and has very strong bones at this point.
He is safe and kind and supportive, and he never threatened to fall to his death from a Ferris wheel
No.
just so you'd go on a date with him.
No.
There were no threats.
I would 100% go Lon. Is that his name?
I don't know if it's spelt Lon, but I think it's
I
Lon.
wrote it Lahaman.
Lovely,
So-
lovely.
Lahaman is... See, and I thought this especially when she does choose Noah and she goes back and she stands there with all her things and looks up at him. And his house is kind of like the clouds are out.
Yeah.
And the house is actually looking a bit ratty. And I thought, oh, shit, what do you do now?
Yeah, you brought all your stuff.
You've brought all your stuff and, like, what does today look like?
And she kind of gets there and shrugs.
And shrugs and it's like, what? You're going to paint a few paintings and then you're going to realise you don't even like painting. Then what?
Then what, you're just going to fight all the time?
Yeah. By the way, did you even finish that college degree?
Yeah.
We abandoned that pretty fast.
I think she did before she
Okay, where's
got
the job?
engaged.
Because she never got a job.
Okay, that's true. Now, this whole time, there's been a second storyline, which gets revealed at the end, but you figure it out pretty early. It's not a
first
twist.
scene, yeah.
Allie has dementia in the aged care facility, and Noah is reading their story to her. It's quite sad. Like, her kids come back and she doesn't know who they are. But there's a note in the book, the notebook, from Allie that says, read this to me and I'll come back to you. So at the end of the story, she remembers, and that's sweet. He's
Only for a minute.
He's like, I'll never leave you. And I feel like at the end of the day, he's a good Southern man who keeps his word.
Me too. And he had to fight for her so many times. And he's fighting even at the end of their life. And it's the old people bit that gets me.
It is. So at the end, I've heard it said there were too many endings to this movie.
Yeah, there's about 4.
There's like, they get together and then the memory comes back and then he has a heart attack, which feels unnecessary. Then he's in the aged care home, but it seems like a hospital all of a sudden. Anyway, there's some there's some confusion at the end.
I'm not sure if that's how aged care homes work. Yeah, I don't get that. I can't think of a ward in which a person with dementia would be in the same place as someone who's got, like, heart issues.
But she's in a different bed as well.
Yeah, I'm confused.
I don't know where they are at the end. But anyway, he crawls into her bed and she's like, do you think our love could take us someplace else?
Do you think that our love can create miracles?
Yes, I do. That's what brings you back to me each time.
Do you think our love could take us away together?
I think our love can do anything we want it to.
And they die holding hands. They die together. And I actually liked that and it made me cry.
Me too. It made me feel emotions that I try to keep at arm's length during my waking living life.
I am moved by stories that happen over a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because nostalgia, like looking back, like can you imagine being old and looking back and being like, remember when you threatened to kill yourself
at the carnival? We'll tell our kids. We'll tell our kids.
That? Remember when we fed the birds?
It's beautiful. He still loves her.
He does. It's just beautiful. But ultimately the message of the movie is, as a woman, you can treat a man really badly, and if he really loves you, he'll want to be with you and beg you to stay.
Yep.
Toxic behaviour is romantic and evidence of just how much someone loves you. And not taking no for an answer is the way that every great love story begins.
Correct.
That's what we've learned. Jessie, moving on, did Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling hate each other in real life? An investigation. No one can deny the chemistry.
There's chemistry. Yeah.
The kissing, the physical, like when she just jumps on him.
You know what I noticed is that in that first scene where they nearly have sex and they like watch each other get undressed, which is really awkward.
Yeah.
And they're like 10 feet away from each other. Ryan Gosling has a pair of underpants on that actually look like Billabong board shorts. Do you know what I mean? Blue and they go down to his knee. Then when they have sex 7 years later, he has the same Billabong board shorts on. I'm like, he hasn't changed his underpants.
Not once.
In 7 years.
Because he's neglected himself because he hasn't been well. But apparently they did not get along while filming. In an interview with VH1 in 2014, the director said they were really not getting along one day on set, really not. Ryan came to me and there's 150 people standing in this big scene and he says, Nick, come here. And he's doing a scene with Rachel and he says, would you take her out of here and bring in another actress to read off camera with me? I said, what? He says, I can't do it with her. I'm just not getting anything from this. But bizarrely, they actually did fall in love after they'd finished filming.
That's what I thought.
And my theory is they watched the movie and they went, holy shit, we are sexy together. Oh,
I was thinking they watched the movie and they got the message that when you fight, you love.
Oh, yeah. When you hate,
you love.
You love. Gosling said in an interview, I don't know what happened. 2 years later, I saw her in New York and we started getting the idea that maybe we were wrong about each other. They were together for 2 years and then broke up, and it sounds like it was potentially a messy breakup. Gosling turned up to the premiere of one of his movies without McAdams in 2007 and was asked by a reporter if they were still together.
Yeah.
And he said, no idea, no comment.
Okay.
Which I found very honest because sometimes you don't know if you're still together.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Like,
that replied,
actually,
I've been
unresolved.
sending messages to her for 300 and something days.
Yeah.
And she hasn't replied. She's leaving me on red.
Later that year, he told GQ, we both went down swinging and we called it a draw. In the same interview, he said, I mean, God bless The Notebook. It introduced me to one of the great loves of my life. But people do Rachel and me a disservice by assuming we were anything like the people in that movie. Rachel and my love story is a hell of a lot more romantic than that.
Oh, stop it, Ryan.
Shit. In an interview with The Independent in 2013, McAdams said, our relationship certainly wasn't something that either of us had expected would come out of that filmmaking experience, which goes to show you that you can engineer chemistry on screen just by telling the audience that these two people love each other. And unless your actors are doing a really terrible job, I think people will want to see that. As an actor, you don't have to feel it. You don't have to feel anything. Just imagine it. So I found that fascinating, that they did not get along. Yet
Until
they
afterwards.
were so convincing.
All right. Do you have charge and sentences?
Yes. Charge.
Yep.
Making women or girls, me at 14, think that real love is characterised by conflict and resistance. My sentence. I don't know if it's my mood or the fact that I cried. Nothing.
Oh, you keep doing this.
It's fiction. It's fiction.
It's a bit of silliness.
It's fiction, and you know what? Our producers were right. Is it problematic? Absolutely. Do I cry every time? Yes.
But isn't it socializing us to expect that relationships should be high intensity, fighting, potentially abusive, and when they're not like that, we leave them.
But
So
I guess
James Marsden gets left behind.
If we can watch it with that in mind,
which we don't.
which I did, I went back and I went, okay, so that's not how love works. It's not how life works. That's not how Ferris wheels work. That's not how anything works. But the fact is that old people being in love
is cute.
Is cute and romantic and brings me to tears.
Okay.
And so therefore, I mean, sometimes I'd say, oh, we need another version of the film. Oh, give us Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams' real love story, you know?
Yeah,
but,
well, you can give us that.
But
won't complain.
no, I say,
play on.
don't mess with perfection.
You say case dismissed.
I say.
A court adjourned.
Court adjourned.
I think that means recess. Anyway.
Yeah, no.
How do you say no crime? How do you say yes crime, no sentence?
You say as a judge.
Play on.
Play on today.
My charge is simply Ryan Gosling's face confuses things.
Oh,
and by
yes.
that I mean he is so beautiful that when he does things that should probably be considered abusive, problematic, coercive, we get confused.
Okay.
He has his face.
The question is, who could be cast in it that would tell a very
That's
different
my
story?
sentence.
Okay.
Recast with someone a lot less attractive than Ryan Gosling and rewatch.
Okay, you got to give suggestions.
Okay. Way older.
Yeah. Obviously.
And way less good looking. Reverend Camden. It's Reverend Camden from Seventh Heaven.
Oh, no.
What's his real name?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Eric Camden.
No, but we can't give him work.
No, we can't. But can we retroactively? Like back then, if he had been cast, imagine we've got an older man who has a predatory vibe.
Yeah.
Not attractive physically. Threatening a younger woman on a Ferris wheel. And what we've got, as often happens, a crime film. We have a crime film.
I've got another idea. Mike Myers.
Ooh.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
But could he be a lovable larrikin?
No.
Okay.
Not in the 1940s.
Okay.
It's confusing.
Yeah, right.
Mike Myers. And she's like, I'll get it away.
Yeah. Someone that
she says
would really upset her.
It's scaring me.
It's scaring me.
And he's just there being like being Austin Powers vibes. Yeah.
Or like Mr. Bean.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like a real public nuisance. Speaking of public nuisance.
Mr.
Bean. And people just go, no, don't mind him. He's almost worse because it's like he wouldn't be arrested. He's just like the community public nuisance. So it would be like, don't mind him, just ignore him.
Okay, just to leave this episode on a bit of an odd note.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for a long time and I want our cancelled listeners to answer this question. Is Mr. Bean problematic? I think Mr. Bean's super problematic in hindsight, but I want you to explain why. Because I think I know why.
I think that he might have been mocking people with disabilities.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm not sure and I refuse to cancel him.
Well, I don't know. I want to hear from our listeners.
Is Mr. Bean cancelled?
What's the vibe with Mr. Bean? Because I don't know. I found that funny when I was a kid and now it makes me feel weird. Anyway,
I agree. But then to put another spanner in the works, our cousin with an intellectual disability loves nothing like he loves Mr. Bean.
No,
so who are we?
No. Who are we
to go cancelling Mr. Bean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so complicated.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Cancelled. Cancelled is produced by Talissa Bazaz with audio editing by Thom. You can follow us on Instagram at @twins_thoughts and we will have a bunch of receipts, bunch of images.
We'll have little scenes.
Definitely.
Scenes to just chat about.
Leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, I'm really bad at subscribing to podcasts.
Me too. And then I have to go and
search it every time.
Week. And then the other thing is that if you haven't subscribed, sometimes what happens is you're halfway through the podcast
and you bloody lose
reopen
it.
the app. Yeah.
And if you're wondering why that happens, it's because you haven't subscribed.
Yeah.
You're not being notified when there's a new thing. You'll get notified. It makes life easier.
It does.
Very unlazy girl move. Lazy girls never subscribe.
No.
They forget what it's called. They spell cancelled wrong and then they give up.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. So subscribe. Thank you so much for listening and we will be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.